Good evening and welcome to Matchday Live from the 246. I'm your host, Damien Best. Well, it's safe to say Barbados senior men's football team is at the crossroads. A string of heavy defeats, the head coach departing, demotion from CONCACAF Nations League B. Let me tell you, so much to talk about tonight on Matchday Live, the final edition here on CBC TV. Joining us tonight, we've got Trevor Thorne, former UK and Barbados striker, now administrative commentator and analyst. Also with us tonight is going to be former head coach as well of the Barbados team and former player Ayr Seeley. And he also represented Gall Hill for a number of years. Good to see both of you gentlemen on tonight. We expect the others to join us in a few. But let's get right into it. Barbados struggling right now in terms of national duty, conceding 29 goals in the Nations League for 2023, scoring just 9. Is this the lowest point in Barbados' football at the moment from a national standpoint? Here, good to see you. This is a hot topic, and you get right into it.
Hi, good night to all the fans and everyone. Yes, this is very much a extremely low point in our football. I think I've been challenged on it just about every place I've been, and most people that are seeing me and know my connection to football has been asking me what has gone so
Another good ball.
badly wrong. I think this decline started quite some time ago, but if we have really not been able to put our hands on what is going wrong and fix it. And that is the big problem. It doesn't seem as though we know how to fix the decline. We have now basically gone from first division to third division in football. And you don't get there this fast unless there's a serious decline in a lot of levels in football in Barbados. And we are in a lot of problems. Real thing. We have a lot of problems in our football.
Most definitely agree with you there. Let's go by the numbers. Trevor Thorne, let's get you in here. Obviously, the longest losing streak in the competition, 6 matches. I mean, we're losing to Montserrat. We've lost to Dominican Republic. You name it. We've just not looked like the Barbados team of old. You call for a Wales back line to fortify that defense, still conceding goals in the first half early as well. I mean, what went wrong?
Let's connect to you, Damien, Ayr, and of course, all of Barbados and the world that's locked and loaded. Uh, as they always say, Rome was not built in one day, Damien. So we didn't expect that. I didn't expect that to make the principal change of the backline, let's say, of the Barbados team, substituting those younger players for more seasoned Wales players that would have won the league and knockout a number of times will solve the problem in one go. Simply because you remove those players away from the team for quite some time and then you drop them back into the hot seat. That's not going to solve the problem in one clean sweep. Basically, what's still missing for me is you still need to maintain the nucleus of those players plus the ones that you would have had, some of the ones you would have had before as well. But you need to concentrate on those 4 principles of the professional sport now, which has gone and left us behind. That's the technical, tactical, psychological, and most importantly, the physical side is just not there. We're just not able to keep up with the opposition as they go about their business. Just take, for instance, the Nicaraguan team coached by Chilean, and I believe he does have Mexican connections as well. He also has Mexican, I believe, citizenship as well. Marco Antonio Figueroa. Almost every minute, he's up off the bench and he's calling for things to happen on the field of play that he's not seeing going right. Compare that to what we're seeing from the Barbados contingent. We do get a few instructions here and there, but really and truly, we're not pushing the players into doing exactly what you want by calling those instructions on the field. Some say that that's not sometimes that's not needed, but for sure, the more you go into the amateur setup, the more you need to coach, particularly from the half line, with squads that are constantly changing as well. So for me, that is one aspect of it that needs to be upgraded and updated. and the second one as well will be the physicality of the team.
Right.
I'm not quite sure if they are putting in the gym work that's required as a not just a national player but an international player. Yeah, international player that's playing against all professionals as well. Surely you must have the physical side of your game upped by ramped up by a major amount, and that would mean gym sessions during the week. Uh, I may be wrong, but someone would have to put me wrong. I don't think these guys are actually putting in all of that physicality during the week so that when they call on those muscles to constantly sprint for 90 minutes, they're able to do that. What we saw was a number of players pulling up with cramp and other calf related, sometimes hamstring related injuries,
Right.
which for top professionals, you don't see that very often in the game these days because they're so well prepared physically to handle what comes and what's be thrown at them for 90 minutes. And for sure, teams like Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, and to a lesser extent, Montserrat, all having top professionals playing. And I'm sure of it that their regime will say that they have to do the physical side of the game during the week and also the technical and tactical stuff as well.
So there's a lot happening off the pitch, as you would have mentioned, Trevor. That's great because that paints a beautiful picture for us. It's not just what happens on the training field, but throughout the game with amateurs, as you mentioned before, trying to help them along the way. Now let's go to Amar Goodrich Boyce, my colleague here at CBC, and obviously he's been traveling around with this team for some time. Orlando Da Costa was in charge of this squad towards the back end of the campaign in the Nations League. He was he parted ways with the Barbados Football Association. I mean, let's put it in layman's terms. Did he look like he knew what was happening on the field? Did he look like he really had the players in his support? Did the instructions go across clearly, Anmar, from your vantage point?
Yeah, well, if we look at the start of Da Costa's tenure as the head coach of the Barbados senior men's national team, Damien, is one where, he started with 3 draws versus Grenada in that friendly series. Came back home, lost 1-0 to Cuba in a performance where, yes, Barbados lost the game, but it looked like the players had identified a philosophy that they wanted to adopt. Very gracious in that defeat. Couple of days after, Barbados recorded a first win over Antigua for quite a while, 2-1 was the score. And, it seemed like Barbados were turning the corner in terms of results. But as we've seen, the first 4 games in the CONCACAF Nations League campaign, shambolic, horrendous if you ask me in terms of the results. It never seemed like, Barbados, the players seem to know sometimes what they wanted to do, understand what the coach was asking of them, etc. So I mean, it's a situation where I'm not surprised that this is where it ended. I felt sometimes that the players perhaps were not totally comfortable with the playing style that the coach wanted to adapt, and as we see the results, they spoke for themselves. Barbados being relegated. Damien, I think it's a situation where it all just went downhill from the first. After Barbados lost 3-2 to Montserrat, I thought that the campaign took a nosedive from there.
Yeah, definitely. That was deflating. That was a game we were expected to win. Trevor Thorne, from a tactical standpoint on the field, we spoke a lot about. Well, this is prior to my adventures in Chile. We spoke a lot about changing some stuff defensively, and then we needed a little more, attacking prowess. We've got Thierry Gill and company up front, and a few others in the team who can score. But overall, tactically, did you see enough to tell you that, we had the right ideas?
I think there was perhaps a bit too much chopping and changing, let's say on the left-hand side of the field where we were getting a lot of success. You could see dividends being paid when we did go down that left-hand side, and Thierry Gale went one-on-one with the respective right backs and right centre backs, always seemed to destroy them and create the chances that was required. And again, we then went with Hallam Hope, who hasn't scored for Barbados in quite some time. I still was wondering where Zico Edme would fit in, scoring between, I believe it was just about 30 goals for the season. He never really got a run out until the very end of the campaign. That's a question mark for me there. If Hope isn't scoring, surely you would put a little bit of hope in a man that has 30 goals for the season, uh, playing for Notre Dame, which is a team that got relegated. So he's not playing for the best team, but he's scoring the most goals in Barbados. So for me, Zico Edme should have got much more of a look in at some point in time. Instead, the coaching staff would have gone for players in and around 14, 15 goals, etc. So I'm not sure what the thinking was in that aspect, but there were bright sparks. There were bright sparks, and Thierry Gale seemed to hold the key to how Barbados would get their goal, whether it be from dribbling and getting into the 18-yard box and getting a free kick and getting a penalty, which he did quite often, or linking up with a couple of other players and creating the chances and scoring. So for me, not having him throughout the whole campaign was a little bit of a bugbearer. But on the other side of things, nothing seemed to appear from the right-hand side of the field. And we never really seemed to have the answer as to who was going to attack down the right to create those chances. I don't think Nairi Stephen got enough of a chance either, coming in very late in the Cuba game, I believe it was, when we should have put our foot on gas from very early. When we got the 2-1 lead, we should have been going for the juggler to get to 3-1 and 4-1. Instead, we shut the midfield down, trying to stop Cuba from scoring, and that was our demise as well. So tactically, and I don't think we did a very good job of handling the opposition. Even when we were in the ascendancy, we seemed to throw it right back to the opposition to finish the game.
We're going to go straight to Air. Air, what should happen next? Do we scrap the national program and start from the ground up and rebuild this entire squad? What should happen from here? And I want people at home to know you can join in as well. 228-5562, that's our WhatsApp number. If you can send on your WhatsApp if you want to ask a question. But Air, what should happen from here? And who should be in charge?
Well, you can't scrap the national program. That is one thing you can't do. The national team is the pinnacle for every young player coming up to represent the country at the highest level. What I would say, a couple of things need to be done. First is Emerson Boyce going to take this job full time? Does he want it? If he doesn't want it, then where do you go? Do you go back to another foreign coach, or do you go for a local coach? Now, my thinking might be a little out the box, but if we're not going with Emerson Boyce for the time being, whether it's for a 2-year period, I'm going for Allen. I'm going for Mali. And I'll tell you why I'm going for Mali. He understands the culture of our football. He is a decent coach. He is a decent manager of players. His communication with players is very good. And he understands the culture of our football. I don't know whether he would want to do it, but he will be my type of coach, a guy who's going to come in. He's going to instill discipline. He's going to prepare the team hard and tough, but he also knows how to manage the culture of our players in this country. And that is a very important thing. Also, the next thing is the assistant coach or coaches. We cannot have assistant coaches who does not understand their role and are colluding with players to question the coaches or the head coach, tactics, and team selection. All of these things go into destroying the team. The BFA needs to get this next appointment right. Whether it be Emerson Boyce or somebody else, they need to get this right. We have gotten it wrong for too long, and our football has been going down, down, down. We are almost at the bottom of the well, which we can't see. And we've got to get this right from the appointment of the head coach right through to the assistants and all the technical staff to ever talk a lot about the level of fitness and physicality. That is down to the coach to prepare, decide for what they are coming up against. If you do not prepare, you know when you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. And I remember well the game against Cuba. We at the gym. Cuba had 10 men, we were a goal down. We still play defensive. We still play defensive. We never press high. And you could see that every time we made an attack, the Cuban defenders were a little panicky, they miskicked. But the attacks were too far and few in between. We needed to put on sustained pressure, and we would have gotten a goal. But we needed to take some risks. And maybe it was the coach philosophy to just play safe and settle
Right.
for a 1-0 defeat. I don't know. But we need some coaching, and we need some discipline, and we really need to get this next appointment right. There is no more room for error. It has to
I
be
need
it has to be done correct this time.
No doubt about it, here. I agree with you totally. A little birdie
Yeah.
said to me that I know Almar wants to jump in here. A little birdie said to me that Russell Latapi is still highly favored. I don't know if they're gonna make some calls down to TNT, the little magician who has got us so many results. But anyway, Almar, go ahead, sir.
Damien, I want to interject here, and I know I'm going to say this. I know this is something that a lot of people in Barbados will not agree with, but I have to say this nevertheless, Damien. I think nobody's addressing the elephant in the room. I don't think it has anything to do with the coaching. I don't think it matters who we bring to come and coach Barbados. The CONCACAF Nations League is a league where professionals play against amateurs, and amateurs cannot beat professionals. I think until we can get more Thierry Gills, until we can get more of our players out in a professional setup, it will be more of the same. It doesn't matter if you bring Pep Guardiola. It doesn't matter if you bring Jurgen Klopp, Eric Ten Hag from Manchester United. Until we get more of our players in a professional setup, until we get more of our players in that environment, it will be more of the same when we're playing the CONCACAF Nations League. It's a league where all of the nations bring their professional pros. We're playing most of our locals. Locals cannot beat pros.
Ear wants
I
to
want
jump in.
I
Hey,
want to
this
say
is going whole
I
night.
want
Go
to
ahead,
say
Ear.
something here. You know the thing about we came along for years, and we always competed against professionals. Professionalism is an attitude. It's not just a payday. It's an attitude. And I said about 3 weeks ago to someone, the first professional footballer I saw in my life was Cracker Gordon when I went into the national team at 18 years old. Practice was at 7 o'clock. Cracker Gordon, as captain, was in the lobby at 6:30, fully geared and ready for practice. And everybody followed behind Cracker. That's leadership. That is being professional. So I, as a youngster, going in the national team, and I see that, and I like, what? Wait, but I gotta get downstairs. I gotta get downstairs early. I can't afford to be captain there early. That is leadership. And I always say he was the first professional player I saw. And Sherby Clark and Potty Hewitt, all of these guys are amateurs. They go to work. My boys, I mean, but they had a professional attitude. We had a national team under Keith Griffith and under Kevin Millard that was able to compete with these teams. And Millard was a different kind of coach to what we accustomed to. And he went really youth. But the team had a structure, the team had a way of playing, regardless of whether you believe in his style or not. They had a way, and they were physically and mentally prepared. The
Right.
same thing with any team that Keith Griffith coach. They were physically and mentally prepared. You have to prepare the team, and you create an environment where if players don't fall in line, this is a national team. It's not a club team where you are limited to who you can pick. You got the whole island to pick from. And who don't want to fall in line with what you are doing is easily replaced.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't see the fight. We can't see the commitment. We can't see a style or way. You, you just go to watch the Barbados team and it's like there's nothing going on. The coaches don't even seem to be up in arms about when the players are not in the right positions and stuff like that. It is like, okay, it's whatever happened. It's the wrong mentality. And,
Right.
and we have got to change it. That's why I say the BFA has to get the next appointment right.
I
They
agree with you,
have to
Aaron.
get it right.
Agree with you.
They have to get it right.
I agree with you, Aaron. The next elections have to be on point because I don't think we could face the pain of any more defeats. We've got some other things to deal with as well, gentlemen. I know we could go on for like 2.5 hours tonight, but this is only a half hour, the fastest half hour television, I'm telling you. Anmar, you've got the women's team. 2 important assignments coming up against Dominican Republic at home, December 1st, and against St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That's going to be played in TNT on December 4th. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so as you know, the women are playing in the CONCACAF W, the road to the W Gold Cup. Yeah, it's been a pretty decent campaign for them. Actually, they've defeated St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Got that memorable 1-1 draw versus Bermuda as well. I think they sit third in their group with Bermuda, Dominican Republic, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I think it would take a mammoth task for them to now go on to qualify for the preliminary stage. I think based on the goal difference is extremely hard. Not impossible, but very, very hard. But yeah, they have the games coming up against Dominican Republic and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and I'm sure that Coach Hart will be looking to end on a high. He has seen some encouraging performances from the ladies. The likes of Ashanae Thompson, the likes of Rihanna Cyrus. It has really been a collaborative effort from these girls, and yeah, I think they'll be looking to end on a high. And even if they don't qualify for the road to the CONCACAF W Gold Cup on this occasion, I think everyone would agree that we've seen some very positive style of play and some positive work from the girls on the pitch.
Well, Amar, you got to give them a little more credit than that. They've been the saving grace of, I think, national team campaign this year. Watching the ladies at least win a couple of matches, I feel good. At least. So we got some WhatsApp. Anytime you make massive changes to a team, the chemistry is off. I think that's the gist of what this one is. Changes to a team in charge. It changes the chemistry. Yeah. Yeah, we agree with you on that one. The chemistry definitely will be off if you're going to chop and change players. Players need to play.
Because we were losing for the longest time. So the chemistry was never good.
Correct.
Real thing.
Correct. You're right. Players need to play to be sharp. All right. Well, Chabathorn, you can agree with that. There need to be at least a couple more maybe tournaments we could slot in between it, or we get a lot more in terms of friendly international fixtures under our belt.
Yeah, those things will help, Damien. Let's just dig into the ladies just a little bit more, and realize that again, if you can come off of a 5-0 victory against St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Dominican Republic, we know it wasn't going to be an easy task anyhow. So perhaps that 3-0 loss to Dominican Republic in Dominican Republic wasn't that much of a surprise. But of course, I believe you should have been able to get a bit more out of the Bermudan game, because they haven't scored as many goals as Dominican Republic. So that suggests that the Dominican Republic team do have a reasonable amount of firepower up front. So I think when you do get opposition that you can get a result from, you must push for the result. You cannot be tame and believe that you have the game won, which I've seen from both the men and the women as well, basically. Because as you can remember, the 5-0 victory over St. Vincent could easily have been much more. But I believe Barbados took their foot off the gas. Mario Hart and his team took the foot off the gas in the second half and didn't press for 6, 7, and 8 goals, like, for instance, Dominican Republic did against St. Vincent. So the goal differences matter, the points matter, and of course you want the results as well. So if that's too technical.
Go ahead. Just finish the
If
sentence.
that's too technical,
Yeah.
that can't be too technical to handle for the coaching staff. There's three things, three major objectives that you have to go for. Cannot just be the win. You must look to push and beat the opposition relatively badly, if you can, or embarrass them if you can. Because Barbados has been at the helm and at the hands of people. They're being embarrassed by Mamuda in the men's game very badly. And it's time for us to take charge when we get on the field and when we have somebody to press hard. You press and you go for 6, 7, and 8. And here will tell you the same thing as well, because in the end, the analysis will show the wins matter. Number one, 3 points for a win.
Right.
If it does come down to a nitty-gritty and it's a draw, you get 1. You get nothing for losing. But when you win, you try to win in style and you try to win very, very big, because at the end of it, only one team goes through in each of these zones.
Right.
And these things matter. In my days, they matter too. As the guys will know, I was involved in a game that we had to take out Grenada to get to the cup final in Trinidad. And in order to do that, we had to make it into a 1-1 game. Here will probably remember that as well. And eventually, when you get to the golden goal, I scored the golden goal as well. So I'm just saying,
Right.
knowing all the different tactics that are involved in winning and getting through to qualify for the next round, you have to press and use all of them every single time.
Exactly. You've got to go for it. There's no lagging back in this nations. They got a W cup for sure. I agree with you, Trevor, 100%. Well, we've got so much WhatsApps coming through. It is amazing. Thank you guys for waiting in. I'm reading them. Armar smiling, ears smiling because we read them. Listen to Trevor at the same time. It is amazing. Quite a few occasions I will see Daisy. Okay, they're talking about the history here. Daisy Clark, a whole heap of all the top footballers in Barbados who have done so well for us at the highest level. But we've got to chip along here because, this is a fast half hour. Keep them coming in. I'm going to read them as we go along, but you guys at home can read them as well. We still got the knockout competition going. And we still got the quarterfinals were completed over the weekend, folks. Britain's Hill, Wharton, Wales, and UWI advanced into the semi-finals. Congratulations to those teams. We had a number of goal scorers in there. Britain's Hill and their 3-2 win over Deacons in there. We also had Nadre Butcher scoring, earning Wales that 1-0 victory over Kickstart. Blackbirds edge Empire 3-2. So we've had a lot of action in the knockout competition. Guys, stay tuned for that. The semi-final stage is coming up. We got the next weekend or so, the weekend after Anmar. We can look up for that and the venues as well. Quickly.
Yeah, most definitely. Next week we'll have the Republic Cup semi-finals, more watering stuff. As we saw the results earlier of Game of Wales advancing. Interesting. I'm not sure to say if this is a surprise or not, but Ellerton for the first time will not be in a final of the BFA knockout competition. So I think it's actually the first time in 4 or 5 years that we won't see a final between Game of Wales and Ellerton. Obviously, Ellerton being knocked out at the quarterfinal stage by Wharton. You have to give credit to this Wharton team, Damien. They seem to be one of the dark horses in this competition, and they've gone a step closer. Also have to give credit to Britain's Hill and the youngsters from UWI Blackbirds. And I'll tell you what, based on the Blackbirds, their number of players coached by Mr. Fabian Messiah that represented Barbados at the under 17 level, the likes of Rivaldo Messiah, he's still a schoolboy, Calford Blades, Zachary Yard, so this is a team that is very interesting to watch, credit to them for, making it so far in this competition. And I think it's all just very interesting to see, what the outcome will be.
Yeah, fantastic, Ammar. Well, look at the time, folks. It's my time is up already here, but I can tell you, we've got a lot of football to come in terms of the knockout competition. We wish the teams all the very best, but this is where we're going to draw the line here for Matchday Live from the 246 for 2023. It's been an absolute pleasure. I want to say thank you to all the analysts who've been on the show here, Trevor, Anmar, Pee Wee, who's missing tonight, but the guys have given yeoman service to the program for the past couple of months. I want to say thank you guys for taking the time out and spending some time with us here. Lots to talk about going into 2024. I hope I'll see you then. But until next time, thanks so much to our production team in the background making this all possible. Until next time, it's goodbye for now.